everyone, and welcome to another episode of Gundam Shoppers Network interviews. And today we have a very special guest, the Mecha Parts Guy himself, Mr. Blair of Mecha Parts Guy, located in basically smack dab in the middle of the country, right? Nebraska, somewhere around there. All right.
Omaha, Nebraska.
Where in Nebraska?
Omaha.
Oh, Omaha. Okay, yeah, great. This is an interesting business because you don't sell full kits. You really specialize in parts, individual parts, and I guess full runners for model kits. Can you tell us a little bit about your origin story and kind of how that came to be?
Sure. I think I built my first kit. I don't know. I was probably 11 or 12. As with most Americans, I got into it through Wing. Then there was this lapse, usually, I think it was through like high school or so, where I just kind of forgot about Gundam as a whole. About 2 years ago now, I had to run over to the local hobby town. They have the Radio Shack outlet there, and I needed, I think, a diode for a project here at the shop. And I saw that they had this whole aisle of Gundam kits, and I had no idea that they were still even in production. So what should have been a $5 trip ended up being a $100 trip. That kind of got me back into it. Obviously, with things slowing down through the pandemic, started building more and more. Eventually, the hobby town wasn't stocking stuff I wanted, so I started ordering online and on eBay. Well, I ended up getting a perfect grade unicorn on eBay for really cheap. Turns out it was really cheap because it was missing a lot of parts. It was an Amazon return, so someone had bought it, picked off what they needed, sent it back. I had looked around to see what it would cost to complete it, and with the replacement infrastructure that was there at the time, it, even accounting for how cheap I got it, it still would have been way cheaper to have bought a new in box to begin with. With this giant void of part replacement, I decided to use that and a few other small kits as kind of testers on eBay to see, is there a need for this? Because it seemed weird to me that no one else was really doing this, at least stateside. You've got one place in Japan that is dedicated to it, and you've got a couple of eBay sellers that do spot parts, but nothing major. So I did my test run. It was successful. Eventually, the limitations of eBay plus their 10 or 11% seller fee, I got a little tired of, so I ended up building the website, and it just kind of ran from there.
Great. Yeah. So is it like a full-time business, or is it more of a part-time thing? Like how does that work in your lifestyle?
I am definitely putting in more than full-time hours, but it is not the only thing I do. I'm winding down. My partner and I had a power sports shop, and due to a lot of supply chain issues, we decided to leave that. We've still got some repairs we're wrapping up. We have moved into a space that is better suited to our online businesses, because he and I still do used part sales for that stuff. Unfortunately, it's not all of my time spent on this. It easily could be. I've joked with him that if I spent all of my working hours every week just working on the site, it would still take me, at this point, 8 weeks to be fully caught up on everything.
Okay, wow. So have you always been kind of an entrepreneur, like having your own businesses, or like how did you kind of end up running your own businesses similar to this one?
I've always been enterprising in some way, shape, or form. I've always been looking for ways to when I couldn't improve the business I was working at, I would always be thinking of how I could run my own. So the shop I had for, I think, 4 years. There had been projects prior to that that weren't anywhere near as successful. So it's been something I've been doing for a very long time.
Great. Well, congrats, because I feel like since you're like one of the only players in the game right now, you kind of have a, at least in the US or North America, you kind of have a monopoly on the parts game for Gunpla, right? So yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we always try to refer everyone to you at the Gundam Shoppers Network. And if someone says, "Hey, I need a head for a Sazabi or something," we're always like, first thing I always say is, "Did you check Mecha Parts Guy?" Because that is like the first place I can think of, rather than having someone like go to eBay or Amazon or whatever and try to find like a whole kit. You are one of the only places to turn to. So I guess, how do you source all your stuff, by the way? Because you do have a pretty hefty inventory of parts and runners. So I know you explain on your website a little bit that you try to find like clearance sales or things of that nature. Like, can you tell us a little bit more about how you get your stuff?
It's a wide assortment. I do have a wholesaler. It is not Bluefin. It is a secondary to Bluefin. The last time I tried getting on with Bluefin, they told me all of their containers are pretty well booked up through February at the earliest. So, yeah, I can get through wholesale through them. Luckily, occasionally that wholesaler has damaged products, so I can get that at a discount. It's usually I can do that quarterly. I do get some from eBay, other retail level suppliers. There's a handful of small shops that I'll buy from. As much as possible, I try and keep it small because I'm small. I want to support small, I do have a lot of kit bashers who, after they've taken their parts out, will sell to me. Oddly enough, I have some folks who will just send me stuff, which is great. More than happy to take it off your hands. I do offer payment or at least shipping, and sometimes they will say, no, I want this to go to someone that will use it, which is fantastic. So yeah, it's a little bit of everything is how I source.
Awesome. I didn't know about that. So I'm going to include a link, obviously, to your website in the description below. But yeah, if anyone out there is watching and you have extra parts that you have no idea what to do with and you don't want to throw them away, send them Blair's way, because I think he could definitely use them for his business.
I do ask that it still be on the runner, so not clipped out.
Got it. Okay. We'll definitely take note of that. So yeah, great. So you're pretty active on social media too. I know you're always in the various Gunpla groups on Facebook, and you post videos on Facebook and Instagram too. Is that a big part of your business strategy, like interacting with the community on social media, or is that just something that you kind of just do because you can?
A little of both. I mean, a lot of the groups I'm in, or at least I joined because I really enjoy looking at people's custom builds. I am a very vanilla builder myself, so when I see people who have painted and done all these sweet customizations, it's fun to drool over. But when I can, pop in a comment thread and help someone out, I definitely do. As far as anything else, yeah, there is some business to it, especially with the actual direct business page. So
great. Yeah, and since you mentioned like you're mostly a vanilla builder, that's kind of surprising since you're a parts guy. I'd imagine like you'd be brainstorming like, oh hey, I have all these parts, I could kit bash and do all these things. So yeah, you're mostly just straight build then.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that, because I actually do that too. I'm still relatively new to the hobby myself. I only started back in June of this year, so nowhere near ready to ideate with kit bashing yet. But I do dream about that. So yeah, similar to you, I'll follow different folks on Instagram or even some of the YouTube channels and see how insane some of these customizations are, and I'm like, okay, I'm inspired, but I'm scared. So I'm not quite ready to get there yet, but hopefully soon. So all of you aspiring kit bashers and customizers out there, again, if you're looking for parts, Blair's the Mecha Parts Guy. So he has the stuff that you may need to actually customize your stuff. So definitely look out for that. Okay, great. And since you're relatively, I guess you got back in the hobby a few years ago, only a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you built a lot since then, or is that just something that you kind of do off and on?
Yeah, mostly. So I don't drink, but I do go to bars a lot. So while the local bars were closed, where I would usually hang out and drink some coffee, I built a lot. I went from obviously nothing to I think about 80 kits built inside of a year.
That's impressive. Wow, 80 in a year. That's more than one a week.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's awesome. So aspiring builders out there, you can do it. You can actually get out there and build as much as you want. Don't be afraid, because even if you're new, you can just crank them out. So yeah. So about your business, favorite part of running it, or you being an entrepreneur, like what's some of your favorite things about doing this kind of work, and your least favorite parts?
Uh, some of my favorites. When I get order notes thanking me, or occasionally I'll get people who will ask me questions, and I love that interaction. A couple weeks ago, I had someone put in their order notes, "Who's your favorite wrestler?" And of course, I wrote an answer. Um, but other odds and ends where like I get to have that personal connection with someone, which is kind of nice. And likewise, anytime someone sends in photos or tags me in photos of the things that they were able to put together because of the parts that they got from me, that's like hands down my favorite part, is seeing and interacting in that really direct way. As far as least favorite, sourcing things mostly. I'm hitting a threshold where I need to have more capital freed up to pay someone to help me. And so buying at retail is not allowing the margins I need to be able to do that. So yeah, I'm at very much a growing pains stretch right now. So it's a lot of stress with that.
Got it. Yeah. So who is your favorite wrestler, by the way?
So the answer I gave was The Edge. Not because of wrestling. I was never into it, but he was a supporting character on a show called Haven on Sci-Fi. And I love that show.
Got it. Okay, cool. Mine's Mick Foley, by the way. I was a big fan of Mankind. So yeah. Cool. So any interesting plans for the business moving forward? So you mentioned that you're thinking about hiring some additional help, right?
As is, at minimum, I have an extra set of hands for like 4 or 5 hours a week. I could definitely use way more than that, but it's a matter of being able to pay a fair wage to them. Because right now, last month we pushed out 750 orders, and that's a lot of time packing. So it doesn't allow a lot of time to post inventory. In my office here, I have a backlog of 50 kits that need to get put up on the site. And there's other pet projects that I'd like to get started on, but I just don't have time. So even just someone to help me pack would massively free up time.
Got it. Yeah. Would you ever think about selling kits too, or you just want to stick with parts?
Nope, just parts. There's a handful of reasons for that. Number one, I have good relations with a lot of standard retailers. I don't want to tread on that. I like them. They send me business. Obviously, some of them I get product from, so I don't want to jeopardize that. But also, I mentioned a repair background. So I enjoy the aspect of facilitating repairs way more than selling something new in box. And it, as a whole, selling new kits just it's not appealing to me at all.
Got it. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, specializing something and being really good at it, or being at the top of the game of it is there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I do definitely appreciate the fact that you found your niche and you're sticking to it. Yeah. So going back to the getting sucked back into the hobby thing, have you kind of like gotten back into like everything with the Gundam franchise, like watching the shows and movies and getting into not just the building aspect of it, or like what's your involvement with the whole thing?
So in getting back into building, I started watching just because of the time I have anything that is actually dubbed. So I've gone through all of those series, some of them more than once. Because initially when I was a kid, the only thing I'd watched was Wing, but now I've gone through a significant amount more.
Any favorites other than Wing?
I really like Double O. I wasn't huge on the suit designs, but I did like the storyline from it. Older UC stuff like Zeta and 8MS Team, big fan of.
Got it. So any favorite mobile suits that you wanted to mention?
Obviously, oh, you probably can't see them. I've got a lot of the Wing MGs up here. The antagonist suits from Wing were always good. Tall Sephion, stuff like that.
Yeah.
At some point, I would like to get the Verka of the full armor from Thunderbolt. Same with the Psycho Zaku. I really like this designs. I love that series. It's just a matter of A, finding it, and B, having time to build it.
Yeah. Well, hey, you had time to build 80 kits in 1 year, so let's
let's get back to that.
Yeah. All right. Well, since we're on the topic of mobile suits, would you be interested in playing a game that we call
Who's that?
Mobile Suit?
Yeah, I watched Brandon's and also got 3 out of 5, so we'll see how I do.
All right. I would imagine since you spend a lot of time looking at mobile suit parts and runners, you may at least have a fighting chance of getting a good score here. So.
Maybe. I mean, I'm looking at the brush strokes, not the painting, so we'll see.
That's a good analogy. All right. So I'm going to bring up my screen here and all right. There's number 1.
Justice. I don't think it's the Infinite.
You are correct, sir. That is the Justice Gundam. Not the Infinite Justice, just the Justice. How about this one?
Victory. I don't know what version.
It is the Victory 2 Assault Buster Gundam.
Okay.
I may, I haven't done half points, but I may give you a half point on that one.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, there we go. The inaugural half point from this video series. There it is. How about that?
I am not sure. It looks like a mashup of a Zaku and a Dom. It looks like it's from Seed. But
it does look like that. It's actually from Gundam Unicorn. It's the Ifrit Schneid.
Okay.
Yep. All right, next one. I think you may actually get this one.
Oh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Is that the Spiegel?
No, it's actually from Double O. It's the Seraphim Gundam.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, one more. I apologize because this is gonna. I think this might throw you for a curveball. All right, how about that one?
What is it? Momoka Pole?
Oh, hey, you got it. All right. Yeah, it's from Gundam Build Divers, the Momo Kapul. Yep. Excellent job. That is 2.5 points.
I'll take it. Like I said, Brushstrokes, not full paintings.
What was that? Oh, yeah, brushstrokes. Yeah. Just so you feel better. So Majin Hobby, who specializes in tools, he only got 1 out of 5. And Nick from Mecha Warehouse, who I chatted with 2 days ago, he only got 2 out of 5.
Okay.
So hey, you're right in there, right in the mix. So, yeah, awesome. Cool. Well, is there anything you want to tell the folks out there before we conclude the interview?
Then the one addition, keep an eye out. Mid-November is the site's 1 year, so we will be doing some big stuff for that.
All right, guys, you heard it first. In November, look out for some special stuff coming from Mecha Parts Guy. All right, and I'll be sure to include a link to your site and any other pertinent things, your social media accounts, in the description below. And yeah, Blair, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Gundam Shoppers Network appreciates it, and we'll always come to bat for you and send everyone your way when someone's asking for a side skirt from a Victory Gundam or whatever. So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. You take care.